Good afternoon. For the final time in 2023, the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship goes racing. Welcome to the season finale in Suzuka, Japan. Even though the titles have been decided, last time we still got one of the most eventful and entertaining races of the season. So let's hope for more of the same. On top of that, there's still some key battles in both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships to settle. Joining me for the curtain call of WMSC 2023, the first number was fine as well, is once again Robin Ciuman. Robin, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you very much, and also already looking very much forward to this season finale here. Can't wait for it to get going.
It promises to be another interesting afternoon indeed. First of all, as ever, we're going to look at what the weather is doing at Suzuka, Japan. And no controversial weather, nothing that could throw spanners in the works for strategies this afternoon. It is warm and sunny in Japan, unlike, say, Vegas. I don't know why I brought that up. Just the general comparison. It's quite warm and quite good temperatures for racing. As ever, this forecast issued by based on the statistical data of the location of the respective month and issued by WMSC in advance by neutral persons. So, yeah, it's all based on what goes on out on track this afternoon. Let's look at the standings before we go to the track for qualifying. And as mentioned, Yanis Volborn is already our champion, but there are some battles up and down to keep an eye out. The biggest one is Pascal Polens versus Reuven Meshida. There is 9 points between them. Reuven Meshida needs to win with Polens 8th or lower for Meshida to overturn that gap. So Polens very much in charge of that situation, but it could still swing with a bit of unpredictability. Also, we've got Meshida versus Pushka for third, only 2 points between them, but Philip Pushka, will he race is the big question. He's been having technical issues. We will see if he joins us this afternoon. That might be decided before lights even go out. And then you can see at the bottom of the top 10, you've got Daniel Benton-Reader, but there are a possible 3 drivers who could get it now. One of them is Gustavo Frigoto, who is not racing this afternoon. The other is a driver who joined us late and could sneak into the top 10. Alexander Knezovic, just 2 points behind. Could he overtake Daniel Benton-Reader in the final round? What about in the constructors? There's a few stories going on there. Holland Racing Team, though, comfortably are winners from Optimal Esports in second and Epic Basilia in third. Infernal Void Racing, though, can they score the 2 points they need to overhaul Maniti Racing to finish fourth? Seems like they can, but they have had off days where they've not scored. So let's see if they can get the job done this afternoon. The other big fight is the 3-way fight for 6th place. SCMM currently leading the way, only 3 points ahead, Better Julia. But Scuderia Cesario have been scoring quite consistently in this second part of the season. They've got 2 drivers again this afternoon. Could they manage to overhaul and get the 9 points that they need to get 6th? And remember, this is all how you finish in the constructors. It's all about the funds they get to develop the car for next season. So all these final points will be very, very useful. Also, looking to the bottom, it's all about Costech versus Potenza Esport Course. Will any of them manage to score a point before the end of the season, or is it going to be Costech holding on virtue of that 9th place at Road America? So, plenty of stories going on, but without further ado, let's head to the track. Qualifying is underway. 20-minute qualifying session. And welcome to Suzuka. Beautiful, sunny. The big consideration is going to be how a tyres going to be managed. Let's talk about how much the wear goes off. And most people out at the minute on the medium set of tyres as we join Reuven Meshida across the line. First time, a 1 minute 30.2. That's Poland's coming in, the contender for second place. Pascal do. Only 4 seconds back, so clearly had a little bit of an issue on that lap, just getting a sighter in. We also see Moritz Kropp, a welcome return. Moritz Kropp last raced in the first race of the season back in Melbourne and scored a single point and hasn't raced since. So it would be interesting to see if Moritz Krop can return and do the same again this afternoon to help SCMM hold on to that 6th place. We join Lucas Murno. Murno scoring enough points last time to ensure he could finish as high as possible in the driver's standings. Can he now get the points needed to help Infernal get 4th in the constructors as well? Aaron Curtis just coming out of the final chicane. And let's see what Curtis can do. 9th for now. Worth noting as well, you can see Philip Pushka is in the pits. So we will see if Philip Pushka does join us this afternoon. Epic Basilia, 3rd in the constructors. David Yunt didn't take part in qualifying last time, but still managed an excellent points finish. Can Philip Pushka join the action this afternoon? He finished 5th last time in Brazil. Maybe could he snatch back 3rd place from Ruven Meshta? We will see. In the meantime, Poland's a much more representative time, up to 3rd behind Knezovic, who set a very solid time there, but 6/10 off Meshta, the early pace setter. Not seen a representative time yet from Yanis Walborn either, so we'll see what he can do. Denny Vella, in the meantime, for Better Julia. Through the final chicane. Oh, Better Julia is very close to each other.
Yeah, and this is also something you love to see. You mentioned that fight for P6 in the Constructors' Championship in the intro of this stream. So, yeah, fantastic to see Cesario, SCMM, and Better Julia, the 3 teams fighting for that 6th spot, all here with 2 cars. So that should be quite a spicy battle today.
Yeah, it'll be great to see if they get some team play involved. There's lots of chess pieces on the board for them this afternoon, so it's yeah, that's going to make things very interesting further down the order, fighting for places. And Bella up in 5th, very solid lap so far. It looks like Benton Reed is just ahead, and was that Walborn getting a little bit out of shape, or tripping of a Maurizio Quercio? James Walborn has typically had a habit in the past of hiding his pace towards the latter stages of the session. So we'll see if he shows his hand fully here. 7/10 down after the first sector, but still an improvement. We've become out of Spoon, head towards 130R. Only 3/10 down after that sector. I mean, this is definitely the section of the track that is going to suit the Holland Racing Team car more. As we know, incredible in a straight line, not quite strong round the corners. So obviously sector 1 full of the S's, a lot of downforce. It's only 7th for now for Yanis Walborn. But yeah, the run out of the hairpin up to Spoon and then obviously back from Spoon towards 130R is where it's going to be strongest, that Holland Racing Team car. But on board with Alexander Knezovic has scored in every single race for Scuderia Cesario bar 1, which was his appearance last time out in Interlagos.
Yeah, but going back on that Interlagos race for Alexander Knezovic, that was a very, very unfortunate one. He sure would have finished in the points there. He placed the car in P4 in qualifying, but then his game crashed right when we were starting the race, and he had to start 2 laps behind everyone when he was able to rejoin the servers. So yeah, he surely would have been able to compete for points there as well. And yeah, I think he is surely maybe even fighting for a podium here today. He has been quite close in the last few races.
And, he's been going from strength to strength, and Cesario are definitely pushing in these latter parts to make sure they get as many places and as points as possible. They are the only team this afternoon to have brought updates to the car. Everyone is very much looking at saving to next year. But Cesario here with 2 cars this afternoon looking to try and overturn. And it would have been much a less harder task for them to overturn the points to try and get into 6th had Knezovic not had that crash, PC crash, as you say, not one of the car. So yeah, it's really unfortunate. They would be much closer in that fight this afternoon if it wasn't for those technical issues. As Moritz Kropp into 8th. I believe he said he might be the only driver, if he should score points again today, to have a 100% point scoring record this season.
Yeah, no guarantee for that statement. We have seen quite a few drivers throughout this season. No, actually, there was Owen McGorgy. He also raced at Monaco as a substitute, and he finished in the points as well. So there is my statement already wrong. But yeah.
So we are now watching Philip Pusher out on track, obviously testing the waters. We had a little bit of a laggy moment there. Philip Pushka, last time out, racing in Interlagos, serious connection issues that we saw it on stream. Obviously, the other drivers were seeing that as well. And in the previous 2 races he'd taken part in, he'd been racing and then had to retire, basically had to disconnect in both while running in the points. This afternoon, he said, if the connection does not hold up, if it does not behave, he will retire the car. So that is why there is a question mark over him fighting for that 3rd place, as he's getting right behind Maurizio Quercio, and Quercio, I think, bailing out, maybe realizing a little bit late there. Here comes Philip Pushka. It unfortunately was only on an outlap, so let's see what he can do. We're also joined Dylan Fisher, we'd not seen in the server beforehand, but now Ruben Mesher doesn't seem to be alone in Optimal, so we might have 2 Optimal as well, which is great to see. Let's see what Philip Push.
Yeah, as you were talking about these connection issues, it is such a shame, because remember, Philip Pushka was right in that fight for the championship. Had he not these massive connection issues in the last few races, before these occurred, he finished 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 1st, 4th, 4th. And there is another of these connection issues. He's back on track, but yeah, we might see him retire quite early in this race today if this continues to happen.
It is such a shame. It is, and only 4 tenths down after the first sector. He's going to be in amongst it. In fact, this is going to be quite a good time. Again, due to the design of the Epic Brasilia car, I definitely think that first sector is going to be the one that suits their car the most. We'll see how much time he's maybe dropped through Sec 2. Just come under this bridge. I think his timing line's just up here. There we go. He's only 3 tenths back by the looks of it. So he's very competitive this afternoon. I really hope his connection can hold out, because he'd be in the mix again this afternoon. Power down out of the chicane, but he decides to bail out of it. And I do wonder if that is a signal of intent for how his afternoon is going to go. Would be such a shame. In the meantime, Dylan Fisher has come out and set a time, and is now, much quicker. Only 1/100th of a second down after the first sector. So is Dylan Fisher about to get amongst it? It's a good job. Holland Racing Team have got everything sewn up. They don't look particularly on the pace this afternoon, again, unless they are sandbagging until the last moment. But Fisher, he's in very close contention for pole. Let's see how good this final sector is. Through the chicane, a little bit messy over the curbs there. But power down, heading towards the line. This is surely going to be in the top 8. Let's see where it goes. Across the line, and it's 5th. And it's solid stuff. Also, Gonzalez Cativo.
Where's that come from? Wow.
Up in 3rd, and one of the few runners this afternoon on the other set of tyres. We've not had to explain this for a while, but there are 2 sets of tyres that everyone has to choose before the start of the race. Either the super softs and the mediums, which is the more aggressive set, or the soft and the hard. And we've not really spoken about this much in the last few races, because everyone's gone for the super soft and the medium. Because Suzuka is quite heavy on the tyres, there are a couple. In fact, I think Gonzalez... Oh, there are a couple. So there's Gonzalez Cativo and David Yunt, who's in the pits at the minute, who, by the looks of it, have gone for the harder, more conservative set of tyres. And as you can see, Gonzalez Cativo on the softs, just been displaced by Lucas Murno and Paolo Villami. The times are coming down. But Cativo with an incredible early time there. Is he about to get displaced? This lap is not looking like a particularly fast one. Let's see if he can replicate that. even if it's times kind of not being off, he was still close. And Alexander Knežević and Paolo Villami go 1-2 for Scuderia Cesario.
Yeah, and Pascal Pollins also set a quick lap time right now, so he improved on his own time, but he was only able to get into 4th. So right now, it's a Scuderia Cesario front row lockout, as you mentioned. So that would be quite a surprise. Oh, but there goes Ruben Messi, the purple in the first 2 sectors. Let's see how that last one turns out for him.
Looks like he's about to snatch it back, but by how much? It's only 0.3 of a second, so Cesario are not looking too bad here at all. Meantime, back on board with Gonzalez Cativo through the Degners. Power down under the bridge. It's only 0.7 down in the first sector, so definitely that last lap we saw not a representative flying lap. Let's see what Gonzalez can do. Remember, Costech hoping to score their first points. They've got enough for 9th at the minute, due to Gonzalez's 9th place at Road America. So they will finish ahead of Potenza Esport, but obviously, points. They would love to get points. And Gonzalez has been very solid, very bit messy through Spoon, but power down. Let's see what he can do in this final part of the lap. 130R. There was absolutely no lift by the sounds of it there. There's power straight through these cars, very grippy, lots of downforce. 0.7 down after the first 2 sectors. What's it going to be as he crosses the line? Well, it's up to 6th ahead of Daniel Benson-Reader. So Gonzalez Cativo doesn't seem to have quite good pace. Seems to have quite good pace. Moritz up though up to 5th. Everyone's getting involved. Everyone feeling a bit racy this afternoon. Paolo Villami goes back to 3rd. Murno holding station in 4th. Yanis Volbom down in 12th has not put lots of times. Remember, that obviously the track is going to get quicker as the session goes on, but they start on race fuel, so it is their incentive to run as many laps as possible so they can do a lap with the lightest amount possible. Dino Gagiano, team boss of SCMM, back in the driver's seat for them this afternoon. They look to consolidate that 6th place. Only 0.3 down after the first sector. The track seems to be evolving and getting quicker and quicker. There's actually no telling how this is going to pan out at the minute. Messer just definitely seems to have the edge, but he's not got it all his own way. As for behind him, it's anyone's guess what order they're going to come out in.
That is one very, very exciting qualifying session. We have seen quite a few of them, but it feels like there's much more drivers actually competing for that spots at the very front of the grid. So this is very exciting to see here. Yanis Wilborn, he still is not really where we expect him usually. This one could be good enough for the provisional front row for now, at least.
Out the chicane, towards the line we go. Let's see how much that final sector has helped. It's a purple final sector, and it is, as you predict, a provisional front row just ahead of the 2 Cesarios. In the meantime, Maurizio Quercio, his 2nd race for Potenza Esports. What can he do this afternoon? If I remember correctly, he got disqualified from Interlagos, and we still have no idea why. I don't know if you ever found that out, Robin. Did you?
I have not. So yeah, it's still a mystery to us. Let's see if he can finish his 2nd race in WMSC at least. Oh, and I think Philip Puschke is out, so there is no indicator that he is in the pits. As for David Yunt, who will either start this race from last or come out of the pits in lap 20. We don't know that. We have seen both in the last few races. So yeah, always quite an exciting thing. Oh no, Puschke is actually out on track. He just has not set a lap, so sorry for that bit of confusion. Danny well up to 4th in the meantime, so he is right there as well.
Yeah, there's going to be, as everyone kind of sets themselves up for their final runs now, that top 8's going to go crazy. I think everyone's about to kind of show their hand. And yeah, Bella looking very strong indeed. Splitting the Cesario cars all in that fight for 6th place. Great to see them close and on track together. And Vela looking very tidy through the first sector into Degner 1. Nice and tidy. Out through Degner 2. Power down. He's only a tenth down. The track evolution must be such, especially when, you need that grip in the first sector. It must be getting warmer and warmer. And same, the cars are also getting lighter as well, so they're able to just carry more speed through those S's. Let's see how much it drops off through the lap. Into Spoon we go. He has a little bit of traffic, but fortunately that Holland Racing Team car very kindly out there. We've had a few grid penalties given for blocking previously. No one wants that today. Heading towards 130R. Let's see how gap is on the split. He's down by just 2/10. It's still a really solid lap. What can Danny Vella do? Down through the gears. Cross the curb. Through the chicane. Power down. We head towards the line. Is this going to be improvement for Danny Vella? It is, but it does not improve his position. Only half a second down on Ruben Meshida. 20 seconds to go. He's going to be on what is likely his final run. Paolo Villami in the meantime. For Scuderia Cesario. Charging towards the line. Is this going to be an improvement for him? It isn't. Benson Reader in the meantime. This is definitely an improvement from 11th. He's very much on the pace here, and it's up to 5th for Benson Reader. 2 Scuderia Cesario split by 2 better Julias. The checkered flag is out. Everyone is on their final runs now. Gonzalez Cativo, what can he do after showing good pace early in the session? One of the only runners on the soft tyre. Across the line, up to 11th. Hopefully still a chance for him from there to maybe get in the points. He's not looking too far away this afternoon. In the meantime, Lucas Murno, 7th. He's got an improvement. He's up to 4th. Solid work from Lucas Murno. Here comes Moritz Kropp. SCMM, the team, in 6th place. The 2 challengers are all ahead of them at the minute. Kropp, only 9th. Here comes Dylan Fisher, down in 12th at the minute. This surely is going to be a time that gets him back in the mix. Fisher across the line. And up to 7th. Here comes Meshida, and Meshida looking to consolidate. He's already fastest. He's gone purple in the first 2 sectors. Powers out of the chicane. Towards the line he goes. He's going to complete the lap. This is going to be in the 1:28. It is a 1 minute 28.8. And he is looking like the race this afternoon. In the meantime, Poland's with a big time. He really needed that just to make sure that he holds on to that 2nd place. Villami crosses the line. No improvement for him. And I think that might be everyone. We do have... is Benton Reader still on the lap?
I think Benton Reader crossed the line just before the checker flag fell. But yeah, he's backing out. So yeah, that was everyone now.
Oh, wow. Well, Ruben Meshida pulling out an incredible time at the end. He's looked like the fastest man throughout the session. And he does get pole position. But... as in Interlagos, he has both Holland Racing Team cars immediately behind him. Could they jump him once again? But it is Ruben Meshida by 0.4 of a second from Pascal Polands, Yanis Volbon in 3rd. Alexander Knezovic, another fabulous 4th place qualifying for him, the 2nd, 4th row. Lucas Murno in 5th, making sure he does what he needs to get Infernal Void that 4th in the Constructors. But then this is where the other Constructors battle for 6th gets juicy, because both better Julias starting in the points. Denny Vella from Daniel Benton Reader. Dylan Fisher can only manage 8th in the Optinal Esports car. Paolo Villami, the other Scuderia Cesario. I need to put my teeth back in, excuse me, in 9th. Moritz Kropp, though, is the highest SCMM car. Remember, they are 6th at the minute. They will want to make sure they don't lose it. But both Kropp and Gajano, 10th and 11th, respectively. Bit of a glitch on the screen there, because Gonzalez Cativo and Gino Gajano obviously both can't be in 11th. So Cativo in 12th, Curtis 13th from Quercio. Then neither Epic Basilius setting times. Questionable whether Pushka will take part. We think David Yunt will, and maybe do what he did in Interlagos and maybe start from the pits. And as we saw in Interlagos, he was still able to work his way up from the points, so potentially a valid strategy for him. So, a very interesting session. Not really kind of fully sure of like a usual pecking order. But as the warm-up begins, we're going to go for a short break, and we'll join us again for the season finale where there's still some scores to be settled. See you shortly.
Masters inside all of us.
Welcome back to the season finale from Suzuka, Japan. And, this afternoon we've had another very interesting qualifying session. And Reuven Meshida has managed to edge out another pole position, but he's got both Holland Racing Team cars behind him. However, there is a big fight lower down in the constructors between three teams for sixth place, and all of them have two drivers present, and the majority of those drivers have qualified in the points. Most interestingly, the team currently in sixth place, neither of their drivers have qualified in the points. It's going to be an interesting battle between them this afternoon. Let's go through the starting grid for the season finale. Pole position taken by Reuven Meshida from Pascal Polands, the two drivers fighting for second in the championship. Yanis Volbon instead, Alexander Knežević, another fine performance to get a second consecutive fourth place for Cesario. Lucas Murno in fifth, Denny Vella and Daniel Benson Reader sixth and seventh in the Better Julias. They're fighting for that sixth place in the constructors. Dylan Fisher can only manage eighth for Optimal. Paolo Villami ninth, a returning Moritz Kropp leading the two SCMM cars just ahead of teammate Gino Gagiano. Aaron Curtis in 12th in the other Infernal Void car. Maurizio Quercio is 13th. David Yunt did not qualify, as did Philip Pushka. Pushka might not race based on connection issues. We'll see how we go. Whereas Gonzalez Cativo did qualify higher, but I think had some connection issues in the server during the warm-up, meaning he's had to leave and come back and relinquished his qualifying position, meaning he will be starting at the back. Now, as ever, tyres are an interesting factor, and for the most part, everyone has gone for the more aggressive set of tyres, but because, of how tyre hungry Suzuka can be, I don't think we're going to see much super soft action this afternoon. The aggressive set of tyres being the super softs and the mediums, the majority of the field, as you can see, on mediums. The only two outliers who've gone for the more conservative set of tyres is David Yunt, who's on the hards, and Gonzalez Cativo on the softs. So we'll see if that helps this afternoon. David Yunt did an excellent job working his way up through the carnage of Interlagos with the rain last time out. So hopefully he can make his way up and score some points this afternoon. It's low stakes for Basile this afternoon. They are confirmed third in the constructors, but hopefully still trying to score some points. The only thing that Pushka has to fight for is trying to overhaul Meshida for third in the title, but he's got a bit of a tall order this afternoon considering Meshida's pace and where Pushka is starting. Anything can happen. We will see how it goes. Suzuka, known for not being particularly straightforward, but the grid now lining up. Thank you for everyone who has joined us this afternoon, and indeed throughout the season. One last time, the WMSC is about to go racing. Make it a good one. 52 laps of Suzuka, just waiting for Gonzalez Cativo to line up at the end, and we wait for the sound of the lights. Bit of a hold. We'd have these issues back in Jerez, and there is smoke starting to come out. Hopefully the lights are going to go.
Well, that is a very long hold. There's the first engine overheating.
Oh, and this doesn't seem like it's going to plan.
Oh, that doesn't seem good. I think that is Cesario. Might be Villami's car. More smoke now from the left side of the grid as well.
Oh, and this is unfortunate. We've gone through quite a few races without this issue. Had it back in Jerez.
Yeah, there we had to abort the start. That took us quite a while because we then went without a formation lab because of that issue.
No, I just wanted to point something out actually, which I'm not aware of. It might be where we here we go. So we have just had a message from race control that the race will be restarted without the formation lap. So this was the issue that they had in Jerez, where the formation lap was causing the glitch. We then didn't have a formation lap in Monaco as a result, but then since then, the formation laps have been tested and it seemed to be okay, but obviously we've had this glitch this afternoon. So bear with us. The grid will reform and then we will go racing without a formation lap. Give the server a few minutes to reset. And we'll hopefully be good to go. I did just want to point out, as I was saying there, top of Dylan Fisher's helmet, which we'll try and get a shot of when we get going again. But we didn't see much of Dylan Fisher ahead of this race, and then he appeared very last minute. So that, you know, whatever's happened there, I hope Dylan's well, and I hope his family is well. But obviously there's a message on there, clearly very personal. So I hope Dylan is okay, and wish him and his family the best, and hopefully he has a good race this afternoon. You're just waiting for everyone to filter back in and rejoin.
We see the timing tower on the left building. So the message from race control has been that they will instantly start this race once the order has been set. As you can see, well, this is definitely not the right order. Cativo is in place, but everyone else, I think, is not. But I'm afraid this will still mean for Cativo that he still won't be back in 12th. So I think he'll still be in 16th due to that connection issue that you mentioned during the formation lap.
As you can see, they're just fast forwarding through the server sessions now. So we will jump into the race session once again. The grid will be manually formed. And then we will go without a formation lap.
But this can also be seen as quite a good omen, because I remember the race at Jerez was pretty exciting after that issue. So we saw loads of on-track action there. And
So
also a few races in Suzuka where the start has been delayed or there were multiple restarts. They were all quite entertaining.
Yeah, let's take that as a good omen. I think that seems like a good idea.
Oh yeah, that is the helmet you were talking
about. It is
about.
In memory of Mum. So yeah, don't want to speculate. This is the first we've heard about it, but obviously explains why Dylan maybe wasn't present for as much of the build up to this session. So yeah, all the best to Dylan and his family. I hope he has a good afternoon. I hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, obviously, and that's a lovely little tribute on the helmet there as well. We've had a good luck call from Race Direction. And there, as you can see on the tower on the left, the grid. Oh, and Cativo has had his 12th place reinstated by the looks of it. So that's actually worked out quite nicely. So we will go, hopefully. So everyone is just going to be joining the grid at this moment. And there will be no formation. The lights will just...
Also, Super Paco, thanks for the message in the chat there. Glad you enjoyed that. Me tiptoeing around that, yeah, bit of an odd situation for me in Jerez. But yeah, here we are. They are on the grid right now. And this is the proper race start here.
Here we go. The revs go up, the lights come on, and for the final time in 2023, we are racing. Oh, and immediately as we get going, there's a penalty for Gonzalez Cativo. We'll come back to that in a second, but everyone jostling for position. But once again, almost Meshed is almost swallowed up, but this time he's managed to hold off and hold position. Volborn's managed to jump his teammate, but this is important now. Meshed is ahead into the S's and can start to try and get the gap of all. Volborn wide. Very messy start of the race for him. Knezovic is held in fourth, and Murno, Vela, Fisher, Krop and Cativo. Oh, and everyone just trying to jostle, but everyone still going, no issues. Now, I have noticed we are immediately down to 15. We
It's
had
Quercio.
16. Oh,
Quercio is missing.
Oh, no. So, no runner in the race for Potenza Esports now. We come through the hairpin for the first time. A long run up to Spoon, but it's been a near perfect start for Mesher, and he's just trying to get clear because this is going to be the section of the track where Holland Racing Team are going to be all over the back of Ruben Mesher. Now, Knežević has looked very good and is tucked right up under the wing of Poland's. Can he do anything to maybe try and fight for a podium this afternoon in the Cesario? They need as many points as they can get if they're going to overturn that gap for 6th place. And Knežević in a really fine place to do it. We head towards the chicane for the very first time.
Although Fischer against Weller, they were side by side entering the chicane, but I think Weller was able to hold position.
Across the line we go. So Mesher leads from Volborn for Poland's Alexander Knežević, Murnau. Then Vella, Fischer and Moritz Krop in the SCMM in a vital point. They want to try and hang on to that 6th. SCMM need the points, but Paolo Villami is right behind. Daniel Benton-Reader has dropped right down to 12th. A very poor start for him, considering he was starting up with his teammate. So yeah, got to keep an eye on the cars of Cesario, Beta Julia and SCMM. They are the ones fighting over 6th this afternoon. While in the meantime, Lucas Murno in the Infernal Void car in 5th just needs to score 2 points so they can get 4th in the Constructors. For the minute, both Mesher and Volborn are driving away, and Alexander Knežević is right on the back of Pascal Polans. And there's a bit of a queue behind them. This is very interesting indeed. Towards Spoon we go. What sort of run can Knežević get on Poland? It's going to be so hard to attack on these sections of the track. The power of that Holland Racing Team car. In the meantime, Benton Reader gaining a place down below. He's up to 11th, but through Spoon. He's looking close. He's looking to unsettle Poland's. And now we enter the part of the track where Knežević might be strong. Towards the line we go. See what he can do, how close he can get through the S's. Into turn 1. And see how much the back end is stepping out, whereas by comparison, the Cesario looks a little bit more together, a little bit more controlled through turn 1. Through the S's we go, and Knežević just needs to think about his entry. Maybe he can set himself up some good exit speed. Through the Dunlop curve, towards the Degners. Not quite close enough. You need to be a lot closer to make a move through the Degners. But at the minute, Knežević clearly with good pace, even if he's not quite close enough to look at making a move at this moment in time.
And this is just the thing about Suzuka. It is one of the tracks where overtaking is definitely possible, but you really have to line it up and identify the spots where you could have a chance, and then try to get an ideal run in exactly these parts. So, yeah, one of those traditional, very track that, yeah, really where the driver really matters. So it's not just a open the DRS and say goodbye kind of track, but yeah, a one that where an overtake actually requires a lot of skill from the driver.
And I hope that means we're going to see quite a few interesting battles this afternoon as Ruben Mesher sets the early pace. Fastest lap over a second clear of Janis Volborn out of DRS range. But look at how close Knežević is coming into turns 1 and 2. He just needs to think. It's just about trying to pick a spot and where to go for it, but he's clearly got the pace. And Poland's not currently able to keep up with his teammate and the race leader. Just a quick note on Gonzalez Cativo as well. He's obviously served his penalty. Maybe he was penalised just because they had to reset the server in a certain way, and because of his disconnect, he was just given a penalty. Not sure what it was for, but he served it now and is now running out the back.
Actually, it might also be a jump start, maybe, because, well, it was right when the lights went out, so that could also be maybe a possibility. We'll inform you when we get an update on the Captiva situation.
Absolutely. Now, interestingly enough, Filip Puška's still racing and has managed to make up a couple of places past his teammate, past Aaron Curtis. So hopefully Puška can work his way into the points this afternoon. But interesting to note that the two drivers on the soft tyres and the harder set of tyres are both at the back at the minute. They're not. Sorry, David Yunt, as I say that, has overtaken Aaron Curtis. So we'll see what progress he can make. But look at how close Alexander Knežević is now through the chicane. Just needs to think about it, and you can see immediately Poland is having to go defensive, and Walborn getting a little bit of a wheel on the grass just ahead. But I'm wondering, and this is a chance. Knežević alongside, he's got his nose there. Oh, he's sliding, drifting through turn 2. But Poland hangs on, but is he going to be offline through the S's? Can Knežević have another look at some point? It's a huge moment, and I wonder if Walborn has started to back off a little bit just to try and help his teammate, maybe with some DRS, because the gap up to Meshida has absolutely flown wide open. But what a chance that was for Knežević, and it's that sort of move just to try and catch him off guard. That's how he's going to get past Pascal Polens this afternoon.
Yeah, and very interesting that the Cesario was able to actually tag a Holland Racing Team car on a straight. So this is very interesting.
As we mentioned, they are the only team, Cesario, to bring an upgrade. It wasn't a massive one, but they were the only one to spend upgrade points coming into this race. Obviously, they want to try and get from 8th as high as they can. 6th is still a possibility. Even if they could take 7th, it's still something. And as you can see, they're trying to provide Alexander Knežević with the tools to do that. And teammate Paolo Villami running in 9th at the minute. So double points finish, not out of the question. See what they can do, but he's doing a superb job keeping up with Pascal Polens. Meshida, another fast lap. He's absolutely setting a blistering early pace, just trying to get a little bit of a cushion back to Walborn. Looking very comfortable out in front of the minute. It's very much the big battle on the track. Lucas Murno just behind. Potentially going to end up in the Cesario next season if the head of the Brazilian Grand Prix was anything to go by. Still some confusion about where he's definitely going to end up, whether he is going to join the Bravo Snow Schaffen team or if it is the Cesario. But if it is Cesario, he's going to be looking forwards at that car and thinking, well, I'm not going to mind driving that next year.
Yeah, indeed, if I remember correctly, the Cesario was also the first car to take pole position in the WMSC. I think Lorenzo Turi, back in the first race, was it, who put this red car on pole position.
Was indeed, and they have had an incredible season. Sorry, Robin, you were going to say.
Yeah, no, I was just wanted to mention that Poland indeed now is inside the DRS window of Janis Walborn. So what you said before might actually be true, because the gap between Meshida and Walborn is quite massive now already, almost 5 seconds.
Yeah, it almost suggests that Janis has maybe given up the chase and is just thinking, right, I'm going to help Pascal.
He's even letting him by, maybe.
Yeah, this might be a switch move, potentially, just to try and make sure that Pascal gets that second in the championship, and that is a very well choreographed move there. So now, the man who put in an incredible defence against Ruben Meshida last time out might be about to try and do the same against Alexander Knežević. Now he's immediately vulnerable having to do that switch. Knežević is going to look and see. Up through the Dunlop curve we go. Power down, just see that Holland just able to get enough of a space to Degner 1 on the brakes to Degner 2, and look at how close the closing speed. Knežević through there. But Walborn at the minute does have enough to make sure there's not an attempt up into the hairpin. And we'll see how much he's able to clear through the 2 big straights. So this is the sweeping turn 12, flat out, up towards Spoon. Pull it right down for turns 13 and 14, collectively known as Spoon Curve. And power down on the exit. And it's the long run down to turn 15, known as 130R. Hey, what? Knežević is still close, even through that. He's in a good position. Might have a little look up to the chicane. Not this time. And Poland is now doing the same favour for his team. He's still in a second distance at least from his teammate, so he's not trying to take off. But Knežević is right there. This is a superb performance so far from Alexander Knežević. In the meantime, Paolo Villami is past Moritz Krop, which means both Cesarios in the points. SCMM do not have a car in the points at the minute, which means their 6th place in the championship might be in danger. They're only 3 points ahead of Better Julia. At the minute, Denny Vella is 6th, scoring 3 points. We'll do some quick maths. So Knežević in 4th with 5 points. So Cesario are going to score 6 points if it finishes as it currently is, which is why Knežević is desperate to get past these Holland racing cars, because he needs those points. Either Villami needs to make up some more places, or it's on Knežević to try and get up to 2nd if Cesario are going to snatch 6th. We have David Junt running around by himself at the minute. He had a moment there, I'm not sure, but he's very much out on his own. Pushka is the next car up the road, his teammate.
Curtis, in the meantime, is also last, so
He's
even
stopped.
behind Kativo.
Yeah, he's gone for an early stop, medium for
okay.
medium. Meshida not letting up the pace, still in the high 130s. Is he going to be close enough here? Not quite. The drivers have DRS and push to pass at their disposal. Going to be looking to use that. In the meantime, David Junt is coming in. So those soft tyres maybe not lasting as long as he'd hoped, or maybe he's just trying a change of tact. Be interesting to see what tyre he goes on to. But temporarily, Gonzalez Cativo up to 13th. A sustained yellow flag in Sector 1, but that has now just gone, so all okay. Again, Alexander Knežević very close on the exit of the hairpin. Let's see what sort of run he can get through Spoon. He got very close last time, only 2/10 in the run down this straight. Get the power down. He's not quite as close this time. Oh, and David Junt has retired the car. So David Junt, not the Epic Basilia car we expect to retire first, due to Filichka's well-documented connection issues, but David Junt, for whatever reason, has decided to come in. Not sure if maybe he had an issue, maybe he had an off at some point.
It seemed like he was losing loads of time there, so yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe we have a replay of that available.
Maybe he picked up some damage, and that's why he's got an issue. I'm not sure. Obviously, Curtis. Maybe it's the reason why Curtis has stopped. Maybe they had an issue together. They were not sure how close they were, but they had traded places once this afternoon. But yeah, now Aaron Curtis very far off the back, having stopped quite early, I would say, out of sequence for those medium tyres.
Now, what I'm wondering right now, is this actually the pace that Holland is able to go? Can't they go any faster? Because look at that. There is a proper train of cars behind the two Holland Racing Team cars, up until pretty much Philip Pushke from 12 to P2 to P12. There is only about 1 second between each of these cars.
Yeah, and that's interesting. You'd think now with both of them in this position, Volborn obviously doesn't have anything to fight for as the champion. Poland is the man who wants to secure second. In this order, you'd think they'd just be able to try and just get clear, get into space, but they are not dropping Alexander Knežević at all at this point. So it's an interesting theory, and you might be right on that. Meantime,
Oh,
Dylan Fisher. Yeah. So there was some talk about Poland's getting a little bit wider out turn one. There was some talk about the tyre wear ahead of the race. Are we going to see a two-stop race potentially? Maybe more if that is Fisher stopping because his tyres are gone.
Well, if
Certainly
he
not.
comes in lap 11, we might even see 4 stops if he continues to do it like that. But yeah, that's actually a very interesting point. That is a very early stop. Or maybe he hopes to just get past everyone that is in that train of cars once they pit.
It's the extreme undercut from
Yeah.
Dylan Fisher potentially. Yeah, he's gone in on mediums. He's come out on mediums, so we will keep an eye on that. We'll see how things go. At the minute, that definitely grip is going away. So the fastest lap was set by Ruben Mesheder, 1 minute 30.8. His last lap was a 1 minute 31.1. So the grip is definitely off its peak for sure. It just depends how long they can go in this state. Well, everyone very close together. No one coming in from this leading trio yet.
Yeah, and I even think that Knežević would be able to pass the Holland Racing Team cars if they were on their own. And I think what you said before is actually very true, as now it looks like, it almost looked like Knežević was trying something around the outside through the S's there. Did back out of it though. Because yeah, as you said, it looks like Wilborn before was giving up on the fight for P1 and instead trying to help Pascal Polens in his fight against Alexander Knežević.
Now, this is interesting. If the tyres are starting to go off, we'll come back to that in a second. This is Junt. Is this going to be some kind of explanation as to why he retired? Goes across the chicane. Still running, so even by this point, he's off the back of teammate Philip Pushka. Interesting. If that is the only real kind of off moment that David Junt had, I'm not sure. Not sure why. Curtis, in the meantime, also DNF'd. So we've had two quite just inexplicable DNFs. So I'm not sure what's happened there to either of those drivers.
Yeah, and the mystery Mauricio Curcio happened again. He was not there anymore at the second start. So yeah, 3 cars already went missing from this race somehow. I imagine it may have been a hardware issue for David Junt. Like there was something going on at that chicane that caused him to go straight on, and he retired due to that. Not sure though.
Quite possibly. In the meantime, Dylan Fisher showing what's possible now with the slightly lighter fuel and fresher tyres. He obliterates his teammate's fastest lap by a second and a half, a 1:29.4. He is charging. The extreme undercut is on. So let's see what he can do with that. In the meantime, Paolo Villami is sandwiched between two SCMM cars. He's looking to see if he can get ahead of Gino Gagiano. A few changes in the order lower down. Oh, and Aaron Curtis, I believe that is in chat, explaining their retirement. Suffered suspension damage from a crash on lap 8 or 9. Went too far off the pace to continue afterwards, would have been multiple seconds. Sorry to hear that, Aaron. Had a solid season for Infernal Void. Sorry it ended that way. But thank you for joining us on the stream. Do appreciate it, for clearing up at least one of the mysteries this afternoon. And is this that moment? Here is Aaron Curtis through 130R. Oh, this looks like, yeah, the moment where they've decided there's too much damage to continue on the slip road. into the pit entry and out of the race at Suzuka this afternoon. Straight into the garage and the end of the season. So, as already pointed out by followers of Infertile Void, oh, and a chance for Moritz Kropp now coming back at Villami, who previously lost the place to him. Looked like he almost got the better exit out of the hairpin, but Kropp is now really attacking. Yeah, I think before I missed how much Gino Gagiano had gained, because obviously there was a point when no SCMM cars were in the points, and now Gagiano's 7th. So he's gained a lot, but look at Philip Pushka as well. He's also now benefiting from Villami and Kropp tangling, and Pushka clearly his connection holding out for the moment. He's going to look for it. Oh no! Villami's lost it just as Pushka's gone for the move on Kropp, and Paolo Villami spins out of the points. And he manages to keep it going, no damage, rejoins. And Paolo Villami needed points this afternoon for Scuderia Cesario to try and get them with an outside shot of 6th. And his afternoon takes a huge dent. In the meantime, it's side by side between Pushka and Kropp through the S's. Can Pushka get the move done? He sweeps round, and Philip Pushka is into the points. Just as Moritz Kropp thought he'd been gifted 8th place, Philip Pushka comes along to take it away. Incredible. And Daniel Benton-Reader also trying to get forward. Obviously, Benton-Reader will help Better Julia for them to try and take 6th. But look, immediately Kropp is trying to get in the position to come back at Pushka. Can Pushka just get clear? Incredible few laps of action. As it stands, Lucas Murno is up to 6th behind Denny Vella. Very close together and fighting. Oh, they're side by side through 130R. Now Pushka still holding on. Vella has held off Murno. Pushka has held off Kropp. But Vella's going to have another look.
Knazovic in the pit lane.
That's going to be cool. Oh, and the extreme inside in through turn 1. And that had shades of, I think, Alonso, was it, in 2005, making that move where he took to the grass. What an incredible move that was. And Murno up to 4th. But obviously now Villami in the pits. Both Scuderia Cesario cars, and there should be enough space, I think, between them to double stack. And they do, and out comes Knezovic. So this is an interesting move. We'll see how strong the undercut is now. Knezovic with clear air and fresh tyres. See what he can do.
I don't see that. A mega undercut by Dylan Fisher worked. He is ahead of Alexander Knezovic.
It has. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of a tyre offset between them as we come to it later on. Now, is this going to be the moment that caused the damage for Aaron Curtis? Up towards the hairpin. Now we're down. Oh, just spinning up the rears. And that's also obviously what prompted the pit stop as well. A wing change, but then the suspension damage just a bit too much for Curtis there. And Gino Gagiano, the highest running SCMM car, behind the Better Julia. Denny Vella. In comes Pascal Poland's immediate response. This is going to be close. Poland's runs towards the end of the pit lane.
Yeah, they have been caught out by the undercut quite often throughout this season, Holland Racing Team. And this is going to be very close. Oh yeah, this is a great view. Oh, they're going to come out side by side, but I think it might just be enough for Pascal Poland. Yes, he stays ahead of Knezovic, but now Knezovic already has these warmer tyres.
Oh, this is going to be really close indeed.
I think if Poland survives the S's, he should stay ahead of Knezovic.
Now, Yanis Volborn's got to get a shift on. Obviously, Poland's and Knežević fighting is going to hopefully cost them some time from Yanis's perspective so he can get out ahead of them. But Knežević still incredibly close up to the hairpin. Not quite this time, but right behind. There might be a chance if he can keep this close. Oh, and Denny Vella with a penalty. The highest running better Julie Carr, who was in the points, might have just been given a penalty for pit lane speeding. In the meantime, Knežević to the outside of Spoon and to the inside. He switched back underneath him. That's an incredible move from Alexander Knežević. And he's ahead down the straight, but immediately he's going to come under attack from Pascal Polans. DRS and the straight line speed. He's going to be back up the inside through 130. And he manages to retake the place. In the meantime, Volborn's in. Meshida is in. So this is going to be interesting. Where are they going to filter back out? But out the chicane. Can Knežević now get on the attack immediately? Dino Gagiano takes the lead of the race. Push comes to second. Volborn's coming out. He's going to come right out into the way they need to move out. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad accident. Volborn does survive. But, oh, he's going to block. Oh, my goodness. How was that not a big accident? If that was choreographed, that was almost choreographed beautifully. But incredibly, Poland now regains his place ahead of Volborn and Knežević. Oh my word, how have they managed that?
Well, that was a brilliant lap of racing. And we will see all that again. Because I think there will be at least 2 stops today. Given that they already were in before lap 20.
So the question is Knežević going to hold station and wait for the stops again, or can he try and make a move? But wow. But in the meantime, Meshida has completed his first stop without any issues. Dylan Fisher, though, up behind his teammate. Now, obviously, Fisher came in 7 or 8 laps earlier than his teammate. But in the meantime, Filip Puška, I thought he was about to fight for the lead after starting from so far down, but Puška now in for his stop. And it is an SCMM 1-2. Stop the count, I'm sure they'll be saying, if their fight this afternoon. But, yes, yet to stop Gagiano and Prop.
Yeah, there are some interesting options now, I think, for these two. Because I think everyone now has already stopped, so they are definitely on a 2-stop, I would imagine. But if they are able to extend this stint for like 6 laps maybe, they might even be able to make it on 1 stop.
Wonder if that is just the plan this afternoon. Maybe that's why they've not been quite as racy. Maybe just been looking to conserve. Immediately, Ruben Meshida's right behind them, and Meshida will be keen to get through, I'm sure. But he's looking very confident this afternoon, head and shoulders above his competitors. Although that may be helped by the fact that Holland Racing Team are having their attention slightly diverted by the attacks of Alexander Knežević in the Cesario.
Yeah, this is what we were expecting from Ruben Meshida in these races. I have been talking to him as he now tries to go by Moritz Kropp. He backs out of it, so that is, I think, the sensible thing to do, as they are not quite racing Ruben Meshida. Maybe yet, depends if they are on that one-stop strategy. And I imagine Ruben will now pass Gino Gagiano without any issues as well.
There's certainly no need for to over-defend, or indeed from Ruben Meshida's perspective to over-attack. No need to take any risks. He's managed to clear them. And now it's going to be Dylan Fisher's turn, I imagine, in the next lap or so to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, as I was saying, I was talking to Ruben ahead of the race in Interlagos, and he was quite confident for these last 2 rounds of the championship. Well, in Interlagos, I think the weather was mainly harming him because, well, actually both Optimal cars were kind of misjudging the tire situation back then. But today, this is really showing how much this track suits the Optimal cars.
Absolutely, they just made both slightly the wrong call there, going for the wet tyres, and then the weather immediately started to clear up, and then Remco de Zoo didn't touch a single wet tyre all afternoon.
Yeah.
On super softs in the rain. But yeah, incredible. I think they both still scored points, but obviously not at the higher end that they've been used to at certain points this season. But right on board with the SCM of Moritz Kropp, just behind his teammate. These two, I think you're right. I wonder if they are going to try and extend this stint for as long as they can, as Ruben Meshida immediately retaking the fastest lap crown, a 128.8. First time in the 128 this afternoon. They burn off the fuel, it's going to get quicker and quicker. Now, Dylan Fisher is going to look to clear these two. Now, obviously, penalty for Gonzalez Cativo. Not sure what that's for. It might be track limits, because I don't think Gonzalez is in the pits at this moment in time. So it's what was really promising for Gonzalez when he seemed to be qualifying higher up in the points positions in qualifying. And that pace dropped away, then connection issues, and now 2 penalties, and it looks like there won't be points for Carlos Tech. But they have done enough to secure 9th in the standings ahead of Potenza Esports. Yes, there was Streamline Engineering at the start of the season who had 2 points, but unfortunately they are out of the season. And that's a interesting move from Moritz Kropp. He's not a back marker, but he's decided to just kind of get out the way in that one.
Well, maybe just trying to get a little bit of DRS there from Dylan Fisher, but yeah, no, I think it's just maybe even the tires showing their age a bit there. Tivo now into service penalty. There he is, dropping a lap behind now.
Well, that's look like a very late move, but superb little move from Dylan Fisher, sweeping through, and is now an optimal 1-2. And considering Fisher started the afternoon in 8th place, done a superb job. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles the tyre offset later, if he's just going to try and extend this stint and then come out where he is. But he's got a really good gap to Poland's Volbon and Knezovic, and they are all going to be fighting each other. So this is a superb recovery drive from Dylan Fisher so far.
Yeah, and don't forget, in the long run, because I think the SCMM really are on a one-stop, they might be in that fight for the final podium spot as well there. And I think it's definitely possible for Fischer to extend this stint, looking at, well, how SCMM are managing this. And I think the Optimal car was also one that has not struggled so much with tires as maybe others did throughout this season.
Absolutely. Meantime, Alexander Knezovic is still frustratingly caught behind Yanis Volborn, but you wonder if he's going to maybe play the long game a little bit on this stint. Saw that there were more opportunities for him towards the end when the tyres were going off on the Holland Racing Team cars, or indeed in the pit stops, making sure he gets in first. Try the undercut, because that almost provided him with an opportunity. He managed to get ahead of Pascal Polens. Polens got him right back. Fascinating battle between these three this afternoon, which we weren't particularly expecting, it has to be said. But Alexander Knezovic trying to do his very best to get 6th, or even at least a 7th place finish for Scuderia Cesaro this afternoon.
I mean, it would be a fantastic feat if they were actually able to manage to get back into 6th in the championship, because I think you wanted to say that, but then something happened on stream that they had quite a very roller coastery season. They started out very, very well, as we already said. First pole position of the WMSC set by Lorenzo Turi. He drove the first 3 races, scored some good points in the first 2, then crashed out at the opening lap of Bahrain, and then he retired from the WMSC. And I think they are the team that had the most drivers driving for them throughout the season. What is that? Oh, that is Moritz Kropp facing the wrong way. Gino Guggiano is there as well. They also moved past Knezovic, past Polens now, and right on the back of Yanis Volborn. That has, turned this race upside down.
Oh my goodness, and now immediately Knežević is going to try and get on the attack. He's got the better line through the chicane. Can he make a move into turn one? There's no DRS to defend against it. This is a golden opportunity for Knežević. Can he try and make the move? Fisher in. Still out of sequence, lap 24. Knežević doesn't go for it this time, but he's managed to split them, and this is a chance for him to get on the attack. Poland has got to try and just distract, to make himself known, try and divert Knežević's attention, just to allow Volborn to get a little bit of the space. But we'll get a replay of what happened, because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it all hell broke loose. So here is Moritz Krop. And at this point, he's ahead of his teammate. And then again, so maybe it wasn't a deliberate move. He just got on the curb and spoon. Oh, and wow. Incredible that no one caused an accident there.
Yeah, and we're just able to see it on the foreground. There was also almost a massive crash. Oh, now he was caught up in the well, on the grass there. But there was almost a massive crash between Poland's and Knežević, because Knežević was trying to move past Poland's, who tried to avoid the spinning Krop there, and they both had to leave the track, going very close to the Armco there.
I mean, that has put a real spanner in the works for SCMM's strategy. They haven't looked like they were going to, you know, score particularly well. And then all of a sudden, well, here comes the one stop to try it on. Then Gajano has obviously let Krop go, Krop having the better pace, but caught on the curb on the exit of Spoon, which is obviously what happened when it was Messenger, I think, coming through. Obviously not a deliberate decision to do that. It's obviously something that has happened a couple of times before, and this time it was nearly a very big accident, nearly collected his teammate and this battling triplet you can see on screen right now. But my goodness. So Moritz Krop is in the pits and still in for a one stop. So he can still gain some places back, but obviously he's relinquished a hell of a lot of places there because of that issue. But Gino Gajano is still running in sixth, could still make this work. In the meantime, Lucas Murno is up. Oh, and Paolo Villami has got a penalty in the other Cesario. So that is really putting the pressure on Knežević just to get as many points as he can. And Gajano's now dropped behind Pushka.
Murno passed him as well.
So I would say that top six are now... There's no kind of pit stops playing a factor there. This is the top six as we know it. Obviously, Gajano. Fisher has stopped again. Didn't really extend that middle stint. But down in 8, still maybe a chance for him to come back. He can extend to the end from now.
Yeah, I think this is now really, well, yeah, as you said, it has put a spanner into the works of SCMM's strategy, because now it will be a tough ask to even score points here today. As, yeah, their tires will be quite dead at the end of this race when they stop now.
So, now, can Alexander Knežević make his way past Yanis Volborn? I mean, getting past him is one thing. Then trying to keep ahead, as we saw, obviously, when in DRS zones, is going to be an issue as Villami comes in to, I imagine, serve his penalty. My goodness, what another eventful afternoon we're having.
Oh, pretty long yellow in Sector 2.
Has gone away for now. So, through the chicane we go. Can Knežević get some kind of exit? But at the minute, it almost looks like Poland's is slightly closer. I imagine Warborn will be doing all he can to try and break that DRS chain. But at the minute, Knežević is there, seemingly on merit and on pace, and is doing a fine job.
Yeah, the lap before he was even trying to maybe even fake a move into turn 1, but he was very, very close to the back of Yannis Wilborn there.
Looking pretty close here as well, towards the Degnas. Just get close enough up to the hairpin. Wilborn seems to have been able to carry a bit more through there and is looking pretty safe up at this point.
But it just requires the tiniest of moments for Yannis Wilborn out of the final chicane to allow Knezovic a very good chance to move up into P2.
So everyone stopped in at around lap 16 to lap 18 was that first flurry of stops. So we're still not at the end of the stint quite yet. Probably about 4 or 5 more laps, I think. If maths doesn't fail me entirely. So thinking about who's going to blink first. Here, out comes Paolo Villami. And I think, I think he might have done a double stop there, because I think he's served his penalty and then he's now changed tyres. Because now it's showing as a pit stop, so he's now on a fresh set of mediums. Such a shame he was running in the points, and that one mistake, followed by a penalty, means he's might be out of contention for points this afternoon.
Oh, this would be such a shame, but also, I was wondering a bit about that early second stop from Dylan Fisher. He might be even on a 3-stop strategy here. He pitted in lap 25. If this is not a mega last stint, comparable maybe to what Gino Gagiano is doing, or was Gagiano in the pits already? No, he's still out there on the tires he started this race on. Yeah, I don't see Fischer going to the end.
Yeah,
With this
well,
set of tires.
that's interesting. So we might be seeing a 1-stop, a 2-stop, and a 3-stop all this afternoon. So interesting to see how it goes. Remember, Fisher started 8th, so he's currently up 1 position. He'll be looking to try and gain on the cars ahead. He's currently and this is very close indeed. This could be an opportunity now. It looks like they've just overtaken the other Cesario to lap Paolo Villami, but Knezovic is going to survive into turn 1. Created a little bit of space between them. He survives, and Villami is just sticking around in their wheel tracks. In the meantime, Filip Puška covering. Started 15th this afternoon. And is now right on the tail of Lucas Murno. Both of these drivers have stopped once. Murno just needs to finish 7th to secure Infernal Void, that 4th place in the Constructors, and Puška! Whoa, there's a very last-minute dive. Thankfully, it's not contact, and Puška is through. Puška on a charge this afternoon. Imagine if he'd set a representative qualifying time. Because Puška is looking very racy indeed, but Murno is okay. He's doing enough. He doesn't have to worry. That 6th place is enough at the minute.
I don't know if that kind of Kamui Kobayashi signature move was really necessary, because I would imagine that Murno would not fight him that hard, knowing that there is no further action in that situation. It was just what we heard from race control Knezovic in the pit lane for another undercut against Yannis Wilborn this time.
So yeah, he stopped lap 16, now he's in lap 30, so yeah, it seems about representative. So just, if anything, he's probably cut it a couple of laps short just to make sure he is going in first. So it is now all on the Holland Racing Team cars, and they're not immediately in each other's DRS zone. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to come in first. Now, out comes Knezovic. He's going to come out behind Denny Vella. That might hurt him. But
Yeah,
obviously,
ideal.
there's going to be tyre discrepancy. So hopefully, once out of the S's, he can clear Vella quickly.
It is very, very difficult to make a move in these first seconds. And now, this is already, I think, where he's losing time behind Danny Vella. Now the Dagners are not really a spot on this track where you would see a move. I think the next opportunity is a Philip Pushke-esque move into the hairpin that is coming up right here, and I think he's going to do it. No, he
No.
does not. And I think that might be him losing the position he gained against Pascal Polans earlier.
Going to be so frustrating for Alexander Knezovic. He's going to look up the inside of Spoon, and he does at least get the move done. But neither Holland car's gone in. And I do wonder if that is because obviously Knezovic has come in a bit early. I would say lap 32 is about when you'd expected Knezovic in. So maybe Holland Racing Team are just thinking, okay, he is going to undercut us, but the tyre discrepancy, maybe they just want to make their last stint a little bit easier. But this, I mean, it's interesting. It might give Knezovic, though, a chance to jump them both. He's got some clear air. He is about 5 seconds behind Daniel Benton-Reeder. Or he has to worry about trying to catch someone else. We'll see. We'll see if Holland Racing Team just try and hang on. They stopped. So it was Poland's on lap 17 and Volbon on lap 18. Wow, you can tell he's pushing. Clatters the curb of Degner 1. But interestingly, as we watch Alexander Knezovic coming round to try and shut the gap, interesting how that fight for 6th place in the Constructors has just ebbed and flowed all afternoon, with Knezovic being the leading Cesario, but then it's been... Oh, and Dylan Fisher now is up towards Lucas Murno, and now can Fisher try and get... He's going to look up into the inside of the chicane, a side-by-side Murno defending quite hard, it has to be said. He's not giving up this one. Gonzalez Cativo with another penalty in the background. Fisher, though, surely DRS and looking into turn 1 as Willami on the grass again. He's done that once already this afternoon into turn 1. But Fisher manages to get through and Murno yields. And Murno back down to 6th. Alexander Knezovic now the fastest man on track, a 1 minute 28 dead. That's got to be a warning shot.
And I think this is also quite risky what Holland Racing Team is playing here, because Knezovic was on par with them pace-wise throughout this race, and we haven't seen him run in clean air, because I imagine through the S's and the more technical parts of this track, he might even be able to go quicker than the Holland Racing Team cars, so it will be difficult maybe for them to reel him in. But now he's having to negotiate traffic once again. This is Daniel Benton-Reeder.
Hopefully he's going to be looking at a very carbon copy move that he pulled on Benton-Reeder's teammate. Will look to go up the inside of Spoon Curve. Oh, he's not quite in position this time, but there is going to be an opportunity in a second with the DRS zone heading towards 130R. Just make sure he gets the tidy exit, and he very much does. In the wheel tracks, we wait for DRS to pop open. Push to pass also an option. But at the minute, Benton-Reeder is defending and put it in a very good place on there. We might have to wait all the way up through to turn 1, so losing a little bit of time now, but Holland Racing Team still not in the pits, still not in a rush. They clearly feel that having slightly fresher tyres towards the end is going to be enough, but Knezovic must be backing himself to be able to defend and get the gap with these tyres. But look at how Benton-Reeder is defending! Oh, Benton-Reeder, oh my goodness!
I imagine that could be a warning for Benton-Reeder, because I think I saw a bit of moving to the right when Knezovic was also already alongside him.
And to be fair, you know, Knezovic has stopped. They're on different... Benton-Reeder will probably have to stop again. They're kind of on different races. He doesn't need to fight that too hard. But oh my goodness, that must be heart-in-the-mouth stuff for Alexander Knezovic. He's had a fine afternoon. And the last thing he'd want is it being ruined trying to scrap with someone who's not really racing this afternoon. But he's...
Yeah, but it is for P6 in the Constructors' Championship, you know? I mean, Knezovic might score enough points today for them to take Cesario past Better Julian.
Well, this is true. This is true. The minute the Better Julie is currently one car in the points. Obviously, there's the Dylan Fish is kind of the anomaly, stopping off sequence, so he will stop again and have to try and fight his way back in. In the meantime, the Holland Racing car's out, and this is definitely the point where you'd expect to see one or both of them have come in. Lucas Murner, in the meantime, pulls the trigger and is in on lap 34 for his second stop. Benson Reed is in just behind as well. Might be the start of a flurry of activity. And now, in all that, we've missed Gino Gagliano coming in. So, and it's mentioned it in the chat. Lap 31, he lasted, that made those medium tyres last two. So, if anything, he's made his last stint almost representative of many others this afternoon. He's done a great job on those tyres. So, Gino Gagliano running in ninth. How much can he gain from there? I do wonder if SCMM aren't going to make their way back up. This is going to be the final stops for most people. So Gagliano, you want to be closer, and he's not even been able to come out ahead of Murno.
Yeah, I think this strategy would maybe have worked quite well for them if they did not have that moment when Moritz Kropp spun, which also held up Gino Gagliano. I think Kropp was already out of the points when he then stopped, and Gagliano was down in 12th. Yannis Woolborn is in the pit lane, and this is going to be very interesting. I'm pretty sure that Knezovic will pass him.
He's already out the chicane. He is going to be comfortably through. You can see him now on the left of the main picture as well. Alexander Knezovic has cleared Yannis Woolborn, so he is going to be hoping that even when the tyres are worn, yes, Yannis Woolborn's will be how many laps fresher? They will be 5 laps fresher at the end. But he's hoping that the gap that he'll have amassed will be enough that it won't really matter. So Knezovic clears one. Is he about to clear the other in the form? Pascal Polans when he comes in pit. It'll be interesting to see all of these now racing in clean air, on fresh tyres, with the fuel at the lowest it's been all race long. Follow Pascal Polans. Heading towards 130R, are we about to see the man on course for second in the Drivers' Championship make his stop? Don't have to worry too much, even if he loses to Knezovic. He's doing enough to ensure he holds off Ruben Meshida. And in comes Pascal Polans, and now we can see picture in picture through the chicane comes Alexander Knezovic. Hammer down. I think this is going to be another comfortable one for Knezovic. Under the bridge, across the start-finish line. And Knezovic is in to third place. So we now wait for Pascal Polans. Is Woolborn. Woolborn's even undercut his teammate in that one. Out ahead of Philip Pushka. Also stopped twice. Pushka, fantastic recovery from him. What can he do? How close can he get to Pascal Polans? Very interestingly, after those stops, Lucas Murno is in 7th. He is... Oh no! Alexander Knezovic has a penalty.
Oh, and that must be for track limits, and what a shame.
He's clearly just had an off, and he's not slowed enough. After all that, after doing everything he needed to do, that is going to be so frustrating for him. 7 seconds up the road from Yannis Woolborn, and it's all going to come undone again.
Oh, this is heartbreaking. He was on for a second place finish, and I think this is the situation where it happened.
Towards the Degners. Oh, and he's just taken a little bit too much out of Degner 1, is that? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before when we saw him go through Dagno 1, that, well, his car was really bottoming out there, and he was yeah, really aggressively taking this turn, and this was just a tad too much right now.
Now, he doesn't... I believe he's got 3 laps to serve the penalty.
Yeah, he has. And that would probably... I imagine he might be somewhere... Philip Pushka, Lucas Murno, somewhere there. 6th, 7th.
So, this might just... Any kind of tension or worry that SCMM might have had of Scuderia Cesario overhauling them, they might have just had a big let-off. Even more so, it might be Better Julia as well, because obviously there's only 6 points between Scuderia Cesario and Better Julia. So it might be a huge sigh of relief from both camps, because Better Julia aren't scoring any points at the minute either. So
they are not
Knežević,
right now. I imagine they will be able to pass both SCMMs in a few laps because they are on fresh tires, and yeah, the SCMM boys are still trying to make that one-stop strategy work from the unfortunate position that they're in right now. Fischer for the 3rd time now.
this will be interesting to see where he filters out, and then what places he can make up in this final stint. Going to come out by the looks of it ahead of Murno. Might be quite close. There is Lucas Murno. And Fischer has managed to get ahead. So Lucas Murno is currently living on the edge. He needs that 7th place to ensure that Infernal Void get 4th. Cannot lose it from there. He's just got to hold position. There shouldn't be anyone on the charge. Everyone behind him is either on a tyre strategy that's not going to set them on a collision course, or they're on the same strategy. So Murno just needs to keep his nose clean, and hopefully he'll have done enough. My goodness. He's making it a little bit tense for the Infernal Void team. So, Alexander Knežević has stayed out, I believe, as long as he possibly can. So I think we'll be expecting him in potentially this lap.
I think this should be the one. This or next one. There he is.
So let's
Oh,
see
there is a car in the wall behind there. This is the other Cesario. Oh, terrible lap.
Oh, Paolo Villami, who was in contention for points. It's gone from bad to worse. Or was that just the back marker then? Okay, with Pushka just overtaking Villami. Out comes Knežević, and he comes out just ahead of Lucas Murno behind Dylan Fischer. And that might just have ruined his afternoon.
Gonzalez Cativo, in the meantime, has also retired from this race and has joined us in the chat. Track limits are wild. He had enough time to test them. Yeah, I imagine that. And once again, very aggressively through Dagna 1.
And obviously the exit of the Degner isn't too bad, because obviously all 4 wheels are off for both Knežević and Murno then, I think. So, yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, cutting too much of the inside is one, but then the runoff on the exit doesn't seem as aggressively policed on that one.
I think we saw that at Road America as well, where turn 1 was very, very relaxed on track limits.
Now Knežević it seems to be clear of Murno. It's just whether he can move back up, gain any places. He's got about 4 seconds to Fischer, but Fischer is obviously on much fresher tyres. Might this have cemented... Oh, and Knežević in. Is he about to just put on some fresh tyres because he knows that he's not going to make any places up there? Surely that means he's going to lose out to the SCMMs. There goes Gajano. We're waiting for Crop. Oh, but his teammate's in.
Yeah, Willami had a crash, so this might also be a pretty long pit stop. Now he gets held up.
And in the meantime, Benton Reader has overtaken Morris Crop. Benton Reader into the points for Better Julia. So this is the big fight for 6th now, because Better Julia needs 3 points.
Oh, big moment
Oh!
for Crop once again.
They need 3 points to try and overhaul SCMM. Now, Murno can breathe a little easier with all that going on. He's now up to 6th. Knezovic, another fresh set of medium tyres. 13 laps to go. Is he just going to try and attack and just push as hard as he can? He's so far up the road from everyone now, but I mean, I suppose he might as well. I think he might be able to make his way back up to 7th. But we'll see. Oh, now we've got some interesting news in the chat from Max Heyman, who is the team boss of Scuderia Cesario. Says he had 0 track limit warnings, but then was given the penalty. And obviously there's supposed to be, I think it's 5 points usually, until you get given a track limit penalty. The problem is, these penalties are handed out by the game, so it's not like they can be rescinded by race control. So that would be especially frustrating if that is the case. Let's see what he can do. He's out in 11th. He's decided to strap on some fresh tyres and at least give himself an entertaining run. In the meantime, Dylan Fisher there looked like he was going... No, he's just on the exit from the hairpin. I wondered if he's a bit slow there. But Dylan Fisher up in 5th now.
And let's not forget, Dylan Fisher has the freshest tires of everyone. He is in the Optiminal. That seems to work great on this track, and he is just 7 seconds off the P2. So this might be the man to watch in these last 10 laps now.
He's made this 3-stop work. Obviously, Optiminal very quick around here. And just spare a thought for Ruben Meshida, who fastest lap, leading by 20 seconds. He's just driven off with it this afternoon. But Dylan Fisher, who started back in 8th, making the most of that Optiminal package. And yeah, as you say, he could be about to put the cat amongst the pigeons. And just imagine if Alexander Knezovic was still in the mix for this one. Yeah, as being discussed in chat, so apparently if you cut this Degner... Oh my god, that seemed like quite a lot as well for Dylan Fisher. Don't you get one as well? Yeah, if you cut this Degner, it's all or nothing. If you cut it, you are immediately penalised, it seems. So that's a very harshly policed corner.
Now Willami is in the pits again. This might be for parking the car in the garage, because he had that off mode.
Waiting, there's a front wing missing, unless it's being replaced or he's lost it again at some point. But
oh, okay, that is very interesting.
oh, there we go. So he must have lost it again.
Yeah, because he was in the pits holding up Knezovic when he came in for fresh rubber. So yeah.
The change in fortunes of these cars fighting for 6th place this afternoon has been
Drop
incredible.
is out of this race.
And as I say that, we lose one of those players. And we have a replay now. So this is going to be for Villami. We'll try and find out what happened to Crop in a second as well. Through Spoon we go. Up to the back. Oh, and he's just got too much power. It's a very gentle one into the wall. He nearly slows down his teammate again there. Deary me. But yeah, the changing fortunes of those 3 teams fighting for 6th place. Every single team has been the front runner and the best performing at 1 point this afternoon. Cesario now both struggling. Obviously, Knezovic trying to fight his way back into the points. Benton Reader trying to hunt down Gajano, who's obviously only on a one-stop strategy. And now Dylan Fisher on a three-stop strategy, trying to hunt down. He can see second place. He could be in for another interesting fight back in the final few laps again. Oh, well, one Fisher across the chicane there. That's surely going to be a cut there. He must be backing off a little bit. That's cost him on the exit from there. Is he still going to be able to mount an attack into turn one? DRS will be open. Pushka goes defensive. I'm very happy for Philip Pushka that he seems to have been able to... There's no real connection issues for him since we've started the race. And he's been able to compete this afternoon. I'm very happy for him.
And I think he even has been moving a bit closer, lap after lap, towards these two Holland racing team cars. The gap is now only 2 seconds.
And Knezovic sets a fast lap on his charge. And here is Morris drop. So, again through Spoon. And is it about to be the same place?
No, I think he just disconnected.
Yeah, that does look like a disconnect. Dylan Fisher. It's worth mentioning, we prepared, if it was going to be a quiet afternoon, to talk about what the situation is for next season, what the preparations are, some of the things we can expect, the calendar. Not a chance to talk about any of those this afternoon, as we've seen, again, another really entertaining race this afternoon, as Alexander Knezovic has now caught up the first of the better Julie cars. There is going to be a tyre offset between these two, so Knezovic is going to look to get the better exit from Spoon. Going to be tucked up right behind with the DRS. Looks quite far back. He might not be able to look at it. He might have to wait until the entrance into turn one. Through 130R we go. Olivia onto the brakes, through the chicane. All about getting the better exit. And Knezovic, even despite the penalty, which might be quite harsh depending on what's gone on behind the scenes, has had a fantastic afternoon and driven incredibly well. And he's going to go to the outside of Denny Vella and sweeps around into turn one. And that was a beautiful, beautiful move indeed. Now just got 5 seconds to reel in. Daniel Benton Reader and get himself back in the points. Benton Reader 4 seconds away from Gigiano. But at the minute, SCMM are doing enough to hold station. All of these teams will hold station. It will be SCMM in 6th, Better Juliet in 7th, and Cesario in 8th. You have to feel for Alexander Knezovic the disconnect at the start of the last race when he started in 4th, and then the penalty this afternoon after finally getting up into 2nd. Such a shame. In the
Pushkin
meantime,
and Fisher were just trading places. But it might also be another connection thing for Pushka.
no, was that Poland's and Volborn that just traded places? Did they just
it might
switch?
be as well. Yeah, but I also saw Pushka moving past Fisher.
So they're obviously...
Which means that they're in the order that they were before. So maybe there's been a fight.
How this is going. Bennett Fisher hasn't been able to make inroads.
Just another word on the SCMM situation. Gino Gigiano is doing an incredible job on these quite worn tires, I would imagine, at this point, because he's still holding P7 and Benton Reader isn't gaining massively on him, so this might actually work for Gino then.
It's been two very, like he's just got his head down and worked on these stints and made sure he was in good track position at the end of the first one and seems to be keeping good pace at the end of this stint as well. He's doing a fine job to make sure SCMM get over the line. In 6th as Fisher goes wide out of Spoon. He's trying to push and just got the fresher rubber, but you wonder if those tyres now might be slightly past their best and if that offset isn't quite enough anymore. Some incredible drives, though, up and down the field. Messenger's obviously been absolutely imperious at the front. But then you look at the teamwork of Poland and Volborn. They've not been the quickest, but they've made sure that they're still in second and third. And here we see Ruben Meshta, who's not had much cameras on him this afternoon because he's just gone about his business very professionally, very quietly. Not far from another race win this season.
Yeah, you could almost say he is Max Verstappening it out there. He is absolutely in control of this race. Not a single mistake, and yeah, really running away with it today.
And you have to give him props. This would be his 4th race win of the season, which is exactly the same amount of race wins as our champion, Yannis Volborn. They would be the end the season as the drivers with the most wins in the WMSC, 4 apiece. Then you have Max Riedmuller with 3, and both Philip Pushka and Pascal Polens with 2 each. Yeah, it's quite a performance. It's such a shame, as we said, that he only joined us from round 4 onwards. But the hope is he will be in the driving seat at the start of next year. He says 80% they are sure they are going to be racing next year. He thinks that the development offset means they might not be quite on the pace at the beginning, but he thinks they'll be able to mount a challenge sooner. So hopefully that is the case, that they do race next year, and we will see Holland Racing Team fight. And obviously it's been great this afternoon to see that, Scuderia Cesario, Alexander Knezovic has been absolutely fantastic despite all the issues. Good on pace. Pushka has obviously been incredible on pace as Knezovic looking into the chicane. Very close to each other indeed. Got a good exit out. Going to be tucked up right behind for the DRS zone as we head towards turn number 1. Gajano's just up the road there. That's going to be his next target, but can he do a carbon copy move on Benton Reader? He does same again, and absolutely textbook round the outside. And Alexander Knezovic now is charging towards Gajano, and that is going to be a hell of a tyre offset. Gajano is going to do well to keep Knezovic behind him, but what a charge this is. Oh, and we're just picking up some dust from Benton Reader. So both Better Julies now out of the points, meaning they will not gain in the Constructors as it stands. And there is a little reminder of what the Constructors challenge looks like this afternoon. And at the minute, Scuderia Cesario not doing enough to gain any places. SCMM will have done enough. And and side by side, Fischer's managed to get alongside Pushka. Pushka is now on the inside on the exit of the final turn. The Holland Racing cars are both there. They've both managed to gain in.
And interestingly, Pushka has the DRS, so he is ahead of Dylan Fischer going into turn 1 again.
Oh my goodness. We'll get a replay of the start of that action in just a second as Fischer getting a little bit sideways through the S's. But Pushka hanging on and doing an incredible job. The Holland Racing Team cars will be very thankful for it as well. Here we go. What starts all the way back in this DRS zone. Up towards 130R we go. Fischer, just wait. What side is he going to try? Oh, and stuck to the inside. That's a brilliant move, but he just ends up going a little bit deep. Compromise line on exit. And Pushka's able to get his way out. And as you say, because of the DRS zone, because of obviously who was ahead at the activation line, Pushka has the DRS. So, Fischer not close enough to try and mount the challenge this lap, but he might be if he can get a good run out of the chicane. 3 laps to go.
And this is such a shame because that we don't just have 3 laps to go, because look at that, now Pushka has arrived, almost arrived at the back of the 2 Holland Racing Team cars. The last lap, there might actually be a 4-way fight for P2.
In the meantime, Alexander Knezovic is right up behind Gino Gajano now. So we've got 2 interest fights to go on at the minute. Lucas Murno is in 6th and is doing enough for Infernal Void. He's just got a bit of clear air. So there are fights now brewing at 2 parts on the track. This is potentially the big one. Can Dylan Fisher break into the top 4 and mount a very last-minute challenge on the Holland car? The Holland car seems to be slowed right down. Oh! And for the first time, Philip Pushka, he's saying his connections have been pretty solid this afternoon, but for the first time, we have a little bit of a fake out from him. That's certainly going to keep Dylan Fisher behind if he's going to move across a track like that. Here is Knežević towards Gagiano. You look how much Knežević is going to close up through the hairpin because the tyres and there's Paolo Villami. It's all gone so horribly wrong for Bo Villami this afternoon after such a solid start. Knežević. Oh, and there we go on the exit from the chicane as they start lap 51. Oh my goodness, that's incredibly extreme defending from Pushka, but Fisher is through. And now at the perfect part of the track where Fisher can use that little extra grip he's gotten. Now can he get onto the back of the Holland Racing Team cars? Oh no, and in the meantime, Knežević is very firmly... Oh no, it was the Villami. Oh my goodness.
Villami, yeah.
I was going to say, how has he ended up in a better Julia sandwich? But now Gagiano struggling with grip on the exit from turn 2. He's just going to have to try and hang on. Have to bide his time now, Alexander Knežević. Try and get back up into 7th. This will not change anything in the constructors' standings. Gagiano can afford to lose the place and SCMM can hold on to 6th. Knežević will absolutely want to just get that place, just for pride. It's been such a good drive from him this afternoon. Towards Spoon we go. Doesn't look like he's going to look towards the inside just yet. Might all be about getting the good run and using that extra grip and traction out of the chicane. Towards 130R. DRS is going to be open. This is the important part. Oh, wow, that's an interesting move from Gagiano. Just to maybe try and put Knežević offline if he can.
But I think that has compromised him on towards the pit straight.
Oh, and then that was enough. Gagiano moves out the way. Knežević through, and he does take 7th at the start of the final lap. In the meantime, these 4 are all together. Will there be a chance for Dylan Fisher to pull a last-minute move? Somewhere up the road, I believe we're going to have Meshida coming through the chicane there right now. He will become a 4-time winner in WMSC. It might not be enough to get him second in the championship, but he will finish 3rd. And Ruben Meshida, with a fine performance, wins in Suzuka. The question is, who's going to come home 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th? Holland Racing Team cars haven't had this afternoon, but have worked well as a team to manage to hold on. Are they going to do so? Out of the chicane we go. Poland's leading Volborn. I don't think anyone's going to be quite close enough to make a move. It is going to be Pascal Polands from Janis Volborn, Dylan Fisher, and Philip Pushka in 5th. And now we wait for Lucas Murno. These 3 points will be enough to get Infernal Void into 4th in the Constructors. He's done it. And he's across the line. But what's just happened behind? Gino Gagiano has just dropped right out. Gino Gagiano's retired.
Oh, might this be another disconnect?
It might be. But Knežević crosses the line to come home 7th. Benton Reed, then, it seems like, is going to get 8th, the final point, and Denny Vella in 9th. What on earth has just happened to Gino Gagiano, who will finish 10th, with Villami being 2 laps down? Well, a breathless afternoon in Suzuka. Stick with us, as ever, we are going to quickly grab Reuven Meshda for a quick chat, and then we will look at the final provisional standings for both the Drivers' and the Constructors' Championships, and a little bit of heads up of what to look forward to for WMSC 2024. So stick with us. We'll look to get Reuven in with us first, and then go through the story of the season.
I think we have mentioned that throughout the race. Oh, there's the final results. Let's just go through them. Reuven Meshda wins from Pascal Polans and Yannis Wolbon. Dylan Fisher just finishes off the podium. And they're doing donuts there, the two Optimal boys in the background. Awesome to see that. Filip Pushka finishes a strong race in 5th. Lucas Murno 6th. Alexander Knazovic, well, it could have maybe been P2. It is P7. Daniel Benton Reed at the final point in 8th. Then we have Danny Well at 9th. Now there's a bit of a bumper car action going on. In Spoon, Gino Giugiano, well, he is classified in 10th.
His game died. He's just joined us in the comments. Hi, Gino.
Okay.
That's such a shame. He did an incredible job on that one stop.
And then here we have Paulo Villami in 11th, and then Moritz Kropp, Gonzalez Cativo, Aaron Curtis, and David Yunt all retired from this race. Mauricio Quercio, he was in the qualifying session. He did not even start the race.
More donuts to end the season, as is customary, and rightly so. We will get Reuven in chat with us, and as I say, we're going to also allow for the provisional standings to update, and we'll be able to talk you through the final winners and point standings in both championships. And then what happens after this race? What happens as we build up WMSC 2024? But definitely last day of school vibes here.
Yeah. Yannis Wolbon reversing into the pit lane. That would be a hefty fine if it was not in the virtual world. Oh, but brilliant reverse parking into the garage.
Oh, very
there.
nice. That's textbook. That's a round of applause for that. Just allowing everyone to settle in, and we are now joined by the Optimal Esports pair of Dylan Fisher and Reuven Meshda. Good afternoon to you both. Lots to talk about. We'll start with you, Reuven. I'll be perfectly honest, we didn't see much of you because at the start you just seemed to drive away. That looked like a very comfortable afternoon for you, was it?
I mean, of course I push every lap because it's a nice feeling when the car works perfectly fine, the balance is nice. And yeah, it was a pretty controlled race. And yeah, after that one, I felt the confidence in the car. I had confidence in me, so yeah, it was a really good race.
No, an absolutely staggering performance. I believe you spoke with Robin earlier about you had confidence that this is a circuit where you felt like the car would be good and you'd be strong. Were you expecting to be quite as strong as you were? Because you looked, even from qualifying, it looked like you seemed to have pace in hand.
Yeah, we expected to be the fastest, or at least I am. I expected to be the fastest in the car, so the track really suits the optimal car. So yeah, I think we had a slight edge on with the car, but also our setup was really great, so it was really good.
No, absolutely. Dylan, congratulations. A solid drive for you this afternoon to start 8th and come home 4th. The only person to try a 3-stop strategy. Was that always the plan from the beginning, or was that kind of a decision made on the fly?
Yeah, well, initially I think both me and Reuven were planning on a 3-stop, and then we both kind of looked at the tyre wear, and then that was a lot less than we were expecting, and we made just a very quick judgment call. Reuven stuck with the 2-stop, which I think was probably the correct way to go. But the 3-stop was more fun, quali lap after quali lap every lap, with some very nice moves in there. I think. But at the same time, it's frustrating. Like, I could have potentially been P2 if I didn't get stuck behind Philip, but that's part of the 3-stop.
No, absolutely, and I think Philip, did some very good defensive moves against you. I think you were past him at one point, and he managed to get you back on the DRS. It was certainly an entertaining fight from a neutral's perspective, but I imagine a slightly frustrating one from yours, considering you could see the Holland guys just ahead.
Yeah, it's always going to be difficult to catch and pass them. I mean, it's been our weakness all year, our straight line speed compared to HRT. So the only real chance was getting them in the hairpin and then praying that they had less push to pass than you. So.
And obviously, we talked a bit before now about there's still a potential that you'll be back next year. It's still not completely confirmed, and obviously there's preparations that'll start now in terms of not just your car for next year, but also how the regs, if you like, the mod for next year is going to come together. Are you guys going to be involved in any of that? Are you guys going to be helping test and shape what next year's cars are gonna drive like potentially?
Yeah, I would 100% help the team, even if I'm not driving.
Yeah, pretty much the same from here. Anything to make the car better.
No, fantastic. Well, it's been fantastic having you come in this second half of the season. Been so entertaining and take the fight to HRT. I do absolutely hope you guys will be there from the beginning for a fight all season long next year. But regardless, it's been very entertaining, and congratulations to you both. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
So that is WMSC 2023. Let's see. We're going to have a look now and see if we can get the provisional final standings. Now, there might be some penalties. I don't think most stuff has been dealt with within the race itself, but we are going to have a look and see if things refresh, and we can visual rundown of the final driver standings before we go. I don't think it's updated quite yet, but what we can tell you is what happens next between now and the start of next season. So, as of today, mod testing will begin almost immediately after this race. The drivers will test, they will give feedback, and changes will be done. And then around December time, car building and factory work will begin for next year. Obviously, if they are existing teams, they will be able to build upon, and obviously the finished in the constructors this season affects how much money they get, which is why it was so important for SC to hold sixth, for Infernal Void to try and get that fourth place, which is massively important for them. And then it's about building towards the season opener of 2020 for the end of February next year. Hopefully with a field of 10 plus teams with 8 to 9 already safe. Obviously, drivers, as we've seen a lot this season, have fluctuated. Cesario has been the key example that we even talked about this afternoon. Cesario had, I think it was 7 different drivers this season, 8 different combinations of drivers. And also I think with Villami and Knežević racing together, that's the only time that a pairing of drivers has raced for more than 2 races together. So they've had quite a lot. But this is the nature of the beast with a series like this. There's lots of very talented drivers driving in it, but at the same time, it's all about people's free time and doing it and volunteering and getting involved. And the league is working incredibly hard to kind of keep the retention up for next year, and hopefully we'll be able to have a good fight all the way through the season. I gonna have a double check of the standings.
They have refreshed now for me, at least, so we can go through them. Let's maybe first go through the driver standings. I can already tell you that, Yanis Wolbon, of course, wins the championship. He finishes this season on 100 points. Pascal Polens in second. So this is confirmed now as well. 83 points. Ruven Mesheden then in third. 76. Philip Puschke finishes in fourth. Lucas Murno in fifth. We already knew that. Max Riedmüller, despite dropping out after the Belgian Grand Prix, he finishes in sixth on 44 points. Dylan Fisher just 3 points shy of him. So that has been an incredible recovery for Dylan as well. Then we have Danny Weller, Alexander Haas, also despite only competing in the first 3 rounds. Daniel Benton-Reader manages to stay in the top 10. Alexander Knazovic, just 1 point was missing to pass Daniel Benton-Reader. Gustavo Frigoto, 12 on 11 points. And then we have Jeffrey Fournier, Lorenzo Turi, and a lot of drivers that have only... So in total, we have 27 drivers classified in the end that have scored at least 1 point. Throughout the season, we have seen 40 different drivers, so the top 19 are on your screen right now as well for you to check out.
Absolutely. And an incredible performance from Yanis Wolbon to get 100 points from the 15 rounds of the championship. There will be 16 rounds next year, so looking to surpass that, and hopefully many to try and bring up the challenge. But obviously, the biggest thing has been consistency from this season, because you look at Yanis Wolbon, he's only not scored points once this season in Portugal. You also look at some of his main rivals, Mesheden not present for the first 2 rounds of the championship, Philip Puschke, those DNFs due to connection issues, and Max Riedmüller, who was very much the main championship challenger up until Belgium, and then he had an injury which made him missed a few races, and then because he was out of contention, he essentially didn't return to the championship. So it may have been a lot closer, but there's no doubt about it. Yanis Wolbon has been absolutely superb throughout this season, and has also done an excellent job in the past few races of playing the team game to ensure that Pascal Polens can secure his second and also pick up a couple of wins in the process. So incredible work from them as a team, as well as individuals. And speaking of which, let's go through the final team standings now. Bring that up on screen. So Holland Racing Team, only 1 race where they didn't score points as a team all season long, 188 points. Optimal Esports finished second. The only races they didn't score points in were the 3 they didn't take part in. So also incredibly impressive from them. Epic Basilia, they finished third in a bit of a no man's land. Pretty solid throughout the season, just that little bit of a dip. Again, not helped by the connection issues and bad luck of Philip Puschke there, coinciding with his 2 disconnects there in Britain and Italy. Infernal Void score the points they need to overhaul Maniti Racing and finish 4th. Maniti, obviously with Max Riedmüller, they were in contention to finish much higher, but then did not score after Belgium as they didn't participate. SCMM hold on for 6th. Better Julia just 2 points behind in 7th. Scuderia Cesario, what could have been with Alexander Knežević in Brazil and Japan if he'd been able to take his starting position without that crash and disconnect at the beginning of Brazil, if could have had maybe just avoided that track limits penalty this afternoon, it might be a different story. But they finish 8th, hoping for a much stronger season next year. We're still not sure if Lucas Murno is joining them or Bravo Snow Shatton, the new team joining us, but we will all find out in due course. Ciuman Engineering scoring 2 points, but obviously leaving the championship after I think it was round 9. Costech and Potenza Esports both not scoring points, but Costech getting 10th because of Gonzalez Cativo's 9th place at Road America. It's been quite an incredible season, and obviously me and Robin have kind of been hearing for some part of all of it. Robin, I'm going to put you on the spot, but then you can put me on the spot in return. But favorite race of the year?
I think I'm gonna go with Monza, honestly, because that was so much ups and downs, even without weather chaos. So I think I'm going to go with Monza. But what was your favorite one?
So I'm not good. I would say Monza, but I'm going to challenge myself to pick a different one because again, the championships were still alive at that point, and then it just twisted and turned. I think Monza was definitely an incredible race. I think if I had to pick another one, there's a couple I would pick, and it's both for weather kind of getting involved. South Africa and Brazil. South Africa was fantastic because it was still early days of the championship, but again we got a completely different result from round one, and then we had really good racing on track, just in pure full wet weather all the way through, and showing kind of what their car control was like and some great wheel to wheel action. So yeah, South Africa was fantastic, and then yeah, Brazil last week was incredible. Just generally so exciting in terms of the team play and the on-track action. So yeah, a couple of good ones. But I think we've been very lucky in the fact that there's been very few boring races this season.
Yeah, they have barely any. Like every race had some sort of great action going on. Some were only becoming alive in the late stages, but that also made them great. So yeah, there's barely a boring one I can think of. Actually, now thinking about it, Monaco was fantastic as well.
Oh,
So this
actually,
could also
yes.
be a contender for that one. So yeah, so many fantastic races that we've seen this year, and yeah, we hope to see that all next year again. And we will have a few new venues as well. Magny-Cours, the Hungaroring, Shanghai come to mind instantly. This has already been confirmed, and as you said, it will be one race more. We see 16 races next season.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting season, and also it's great to see the return of Watkins Glen. I'm really looking forward to that one. Portimao wasn't supposed to be on the calendar this year, but there were issues with the Estoril mod, so Portimao is now confirmed for next year as well. And I also love the fact that we are going to finish with a couple of races that are just great season enders in Interlagos and Suzuka. But it does start all again next year in Albert Park in Melbourne in February. I want to thank all of you for watching throughout the season and indeed this evening. We really do appreciate everyone's support in the season, everyone working behind the scenes to produce the streams, to give us the information ahead, to produce the mods, to do the race direction. It's the first season of WMSC. Everyone is just kind of working and pulling in their own time to kind of push things together and try and make it as good as it can be, even right down to the team owners and the drivers. And we've done an excellent job for our first season. I think we've had a few technical moments here and there, but even the proper broadcasters have those as well. And I think we've had a really good season, and I'm really looking forward to doing it all again next year. Robin, thank you so much. I mean, let's just get it out of the way here. Are you planning on coming back next season?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I will be back next year as well. And I suppose so are you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, I think you said everything there. So much looking forward to next season. And of course I will be coming back, and yeah, really looking forward for Lights Out at Melbourne in I think late February. Will be the first race of next season. And thank you to you as well. So you've been amazing. You've done very well. It was our first season for us as live commentators as well. So this is a first for us as well. So yeah, I think you've done fantastic, and yeah, it was a great pleasure working with you.
No, I thank you very much, and likewise to you as well. Considering I think we were both doing this for the first time, and we've all obviously then working out how to commentate together. I think yeah, we've done it. It's been real fun, and we can only get better next year as we do this more and more, as we learn more and more and understand how to put on the best show we can and show you some of the best racing possible. So yeah, thank you to you, Robin. Also, a big shout out to how you handled your first solo one when you took on Jerez and had to fill while we didn't understand why the race just wasn't starting. And I remember tuning in because I was busy, but I just thought, I'll see how it's going. And I just saw the crashing. I was like, oh, I feel so guilty. I'm so sorry for leaving you out there like this. But yeah, you did an incredible job. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to kind of muddle through those together next year. But yeah, it's been fantastic. So yeah, one last time, thank you so much to everyone who's watched throughout the season and helped produce the streams. And yeah, we will see you in 2024. Have a good one.
Goodbye.